It started with traffic. That's what still gets me, the ordinary, boring reason I came home early that day. Just a random Tuesday, nothing special, nothing planned. The kind of day you forget as soon as it ends. But not this one. This one wedged itself into my memory like a shard of glass, small at first, but impossible to ignore once it's under your skin. I left work earlier than usual. My last meeting was canceled, and for once, the highway was wide open. No bottleneck by the exit ramp, no fender benders or slowdowns. A 20-minute drive turned into 15, and I pulled into our neighborhood a full hour ahead of schedule. I remember thinking I'd surprise Courtney. Maybe grab takeout, maybe sit on the couch and actually talk, something we hadn't done much of lately without her glancing at her phone every few seconds. But as I turned the corner onto our street, I saw a car parked near the edge of the next block. A sleek gray sedan. Not flashy, not beat up, just unfamiliar. Too clean for our neighborhood where most of us drove practical vehicles with dents and toddler crumbs in the back seat. I slowed down instinctively, checking the plates. Not local. No decals, no bumper stickers. The kind of car someone drives when they don't want to be noticed. I parked in our driveway, and the first thing that hit me when I stepped out wasn't the wind or the quiet, it was the absence of something. The usual sound of Courtney's music drifting through the walls was missing. It was eerily silent, like the house was holding its breath. When I stepped inside, I noticed the faint scent of something floral, her shampoo, maybe, but stronger than usual. It mixed with the heavier, richer smell of red wine. Not our usual bottle either. We kept a couple of affordable options on the counter, but this had that distinct dry earth aroma, the kind you'd expect from something aged and expensive. I felt a flicker of confusion, not suspicion, not yet. Just the feeling that something wasn't matching. Then I heard movement upstairs. Fast, sudden. A door closing. A thud. Water. I called out her name just once, half casual. Court. No answer. Then the bathroom door opened and she stepped out. What hair? Freshly showered. Barefoot, wrapped in a towel, but that wasn't what caught my attention. She was wearing a shirt. Not one of mine. Not one of hers, either. A men's t-shirt, soft cotton, slightly stretched at the collar, oversized enough to hang loosely on her frame. White, with a tiny black logo above the chest pocket, something sporty, maybe a brand or a team. I couldn't place it, but I knew I'd never seen it before. She froze for half a second when she saw me, then put on a smile so quickly it felt like a reflex. Hey, you're home early. I said nothing at first. My eyes drifted toward the kitchen behind her. 2 wine glasses sat on the table. One of them had a pink lipstick stain near the rim, her shade. The other had faint, smudged fingerprints and the telltale streak of someone who grips the glass hard. Larger than hers. Rougher. And next to them, a bottle half full. Had company? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. She raised her eyebrows, almost amused. Nope. Just me. I was in the mood for a glass while I showered. You know, midweek reset. I nodded slowly. 2 glasses. Oh, she said with a soft chuckle. Yeah. I like switching sides sometimes. Keeps the temperature right. Weird quirk, I guess. I didn't say anything. I walked past her into the kitchen and looked again at the glasses. One was near the edge of the table, the other near the chair that faced the living room. Opposite ends. Opposite positions. I turned back to her. She was watching me closely, her arms crossed over her chest like she was cold or nervous. And the shirt? I asked. New. She looked down as if she hadn't even noticed what she was wearing. Oh, this? Amanda gave it to me. One of those sleepover shirts girls steal from their guy friends. We used to do that in college. She dropped some stuff off earlier. I couldn't tell if she believed the words coming out of her mouth or if she was just good at delivering them. Her tone was calm. Too calm. Rehearsed. And Amanda? We hadn't seen her in over 3 months. She lived in a different state now. I didn't push. Not yet. Instead, I walked to the sink and turned on the tap, filling a glass with water just to do something with my hands. You okay? She asked behind me. I nodded. Sure. Just surprised. Thought maybe we'd have dinner together. Oh, she said, sounding a little too relieved. Yeah, I'm starving. Let me change and we'll order something. I turned to look at her again. Her makeup was still on. Winged eyeliner, a bit of concealer, mascara slightly smudged but definitely applied today. She usually washed it off before showering. Always had. Said it bothered her skin. Did you shower with makeup on? She blinked. I was just rinsing off. I didn't get to wash my face yet. Another pause. Another almost silent breath. She was lying. I didn't know the whole story. I didn't have all the pieces. But I had enough to know that something didn't add up. The glass. The shirt. The timing. The smell of cologne that didn't belong to me or our house. The silence when I walked in. And yet she didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped forward and put a hand on my arm. "Mark," she said softly, "don't do this. Don't start inventing stories in your head just because I had a glass of wine and a weird shirt on." I looked down at her hand, then back at her. "I'm not inventing anything," I said, not raising my voice. "I'm just noticing things. Things that don't make sense." She pulled her hand back. Her expression changed just slightly. Like someone who realized their charm wasn't working. "You've been like this lately," she said. "Looking for problems. Finding ways to twist things so you can accuse me of something. It's exhausting, Mark. I can't live like this. If you're going to keep suspecting me every time I take a shower or drink a glass of wine, then maybe the problem isn't me." I stared at her, stunned. That was the moment. That was the shift. She wasn't explaining anything anymore, she was blaming me. I could have responded. I could have called her out. But I didn't. I just stood there. Because suddenly I felt like a stranger in my own home. Maybe it was the quiet defensiveness in her tone. Maybe it was the way she deflected every question and spun it back at me like I was the one crossing a line. But something changed that night. It wasn't the shirt or the wine or the car outside. It was the lie. And the way she looked me straight in the eyes while telling it. Looking back, I think I started lying to myself long before she ever lied to me. That night, when Courtney walked out of the bathroom in someone else's shirt and fed me that made-for-TV story about Amanda, I told myself to let it go. I convinced myself that maybe she was telling the truth, that maybe I was just overthinking it. But even as I sat across from her at dinner, watching her smile and laugh like nothing was off, something deep inside me started to shift. That was the first real crack. But the truth? The foundation had already been breaking apart for months. I just hadn't been willing to look closely. It started with little things. 6 months before that night, I remember noticing how Courtney would sigh more during our conversations, subtle but like she was tired of being around me. She stopped asking about my day, stopped laughing at the dumb jokes I used to get eye rolls for. And she started wearing this new perfume, sweeter, sharper. When I asked about it, she said it was on sale at the mall and something different to feel more grown up. Strange, considering she never used to care about that stuff. Around the same time, she began taking more me time. Not the kind I could argue with either, just small disappearances. Late returns from the gym. Errands that took an hour longer than they should have. A few nights a week she'd say she had to stay late at work for meetings. Her job at the nonprofit used to run like clockwork, 9 to 5, always. Suddenly, they were holding meetings at 7 p.m. on Thursdays? I remember one night, I asked if she wanted to watch a movie after dinner, something we used to do all the time. She looked up from her phone and said, "Honestly, Mark, I'm too tired. I've just had so much going on lately. I think I need some time to decompress." I didn't argue. I just nodded. But later, when I took the trash out, I noticed she was still in the living room. Not decompressing. Not even reading or watching anything. Just staring at her phone, scrolling. And smiling. That smile stayed with me. You know the kind of smile I mean, the one people wear when they think no one's watching. Not just happy but lit up from the inside. It wasn't for me. And that realization, it chilled me. Still, I didn't do anything about it. I brushed it off as paranoia. Everyone deserves privacy, right? But then came the night of the trash run. Courtney got a call around 9:30 p.m. We were both on the couch, the TV playing some show neither of us was paying attention to. Her phone lit up and she grabbed it fast, too fast. She stepped out of the room without a word. When she came back a minute later, she said, "I forgot to take the trash out. I'll be right back." She grabbed the bag from the kitchen and walked out the back door. I thought nothing of it at first. I figured maybe she was just trying to cool off after the weird mood we'd been in all day. But 10 minutes passed. Then 20. I went outside. The trash can was closed. The bag she'd taken out wasn't inside. Half an hour later, she still wasn't back. I called her cell. No answer. Straight to voicemail. I stood there in the kitchen, phone in my hand, wondering what the hell was going on. My stomach turned. Every bad movie scene I'd ever seen played in my head. When she finally came back, an hour and a half after she left, her hair was a little windblown and she was holding a fast food soda cup. "Got hungry," she said, brushing past me. I figured I'd grab a drink and get some air. "You were dozing off anyway." I wanted to ask her where the trash bag went. But I didn't. I just nodded and let her walk upstairs. The next morning, I opened the outside bin. The bag she'd taken out was lying inside, on top, exactly the way I'd left it before she left. Still tied the same. Untouched. That was the moment I stopped pretending. That day, I went to the office store and bought a new notebook. I kept it in my desk drawer. The first page was dated, and I wrote, "She left to take the trash out at 9:32 p.m. returned at 11:04 p.m. bag never left the bin. Brought home a soda. Said she got air. Did not answer phone." That was entry 1. From that day on, I started tracking everything. Not because I wanted to catch her, I prayed I'd be proven wrong. I wanted to be the crazy one. I wanted to embarrass myself and tear those pages up in shame. But it didn't work out that way. The lies kept stacking. She got a new set of lingerie, 3 matching sets. Expensive. Beautiful. I only knew because the receipt accidentally ended up in the laundry. I remember standing in the hallway holding that little paper slip, realizing I hadn't seen any of it. Not once. When I asked her about it, she shrugged and said, "I just wanted to feel good about myself again." "It's not always about you, Mark." No, it wasn't about me. That much was finally clear. Her phone, once left charging on the nightstand, now stayed glued to her hand. Face down. Notifications off. Every time I walked into a room, she'd either put it down quickly or tilt the screen away. I once caught her using Instagram in the middle of the night in the bathroom. At 2 a.m. I noted that too. I started making copies. Screensh *TS. I'd sneak into her phone when she was asleep, not proud of it, but I had to know. Most of her texts were clean. Nothing explicit. But they were hollow. Like they'd been wiped. No conversations with coworkers. No old texts. Just strings of emojis and dry one-liners. It was sanitized. Scrubbed. And there was one number I didn't recognize, listed under Jamie Yoga. Courtney hadn't done yoga in over a year. I looked it up. No matches online. Just a first name and a number. The only real confirmation came a week later. She got a call during dinner. She let it ring, didn't even glance at the screen. "Spam," she said casually. But the screen had lit up for a split second before she silenced it. It said Jamie. After dinner, she went outside to call Amanda back. I waited exactly 3 minutes before walking out to the side gate. I stayed hidden behind the shed, close enough to hear. "No, it's fine," she whispered. "He has no idea. I'll see you Thursday, same place. Just text when you're close." A pause. Then laughter. Soft. Flirty. Familiar. I couldn't hear the rest. She turned away and walked back inside a few minutes later. I returned to the kitchen, pretending I was still cleaning up. She walked in, acting like nothing had happened. Kissed my cheek. Asked if I wanted tea. I nodded, watching her move around the kitchen like everything was normal. Inside, I was unraveling. It wasn't just the cheating that broke me, it was the casualness of it. The ease. The way she still looked me in the eye every night and told me she loved me before bed. Like that word love hadn't become hollow in her mouth. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Because the worst part? I still wanted to believe that if I just waited, she might stop. But that's not how these things go. There's a kind of pain that comes with confirmation. It doesn't explode. It doesn't scream. It just settles. Like concrete hardening in your chest. I think part of me always knew. The shirt, the lies, the weird perfume, the missing hours that never added up, those weren't coincidences. I wasn't just being paranoid. I had been living in a relationship slowly bleeding trust, and I kept applying pressure to the wound, hoping it would heal. But hope's a hell of a G. And I was addicted to it. The final blow came on a random Friday night. I wasn't even looking for anything that evening. I was on the couch, just scrolling through Instagram stories to K*LL time while waiting for Courtney to come home. She told me she was having dinner with her parents. Her exact words were, "It'll probably run late. You know how mom talks forever." I said no problem. Told her to enjoy herself. Even wished her well. It had become a routine, these increasingly frequent nights out. Family dinners, coworker birthdays, girls' nights. None of which included me. I stopped asking to tag along because I already knew what the answer would be. I think she stopped pretending to feel guilty about it. So there I was, just flipping through stories on my feed like a guy avoiding his own reality when I noticed one from a name I barely recognized. One of Courtney's old college friends, I think. I almost skipped it, just another party clip, some grainy footage of people laughing and dancing, typical bar scene nonsense. But then I saw her. At first, it was just a blur in the background. The camera had panned too fast. I paused, rewound, and there it was. Clear as day. Courtney. Standing by the bar, holding a drink, wearing that black floral dress she told me was just for special occasions and swore she only wore to her mom's birthday dinner. Except she wasn't at her mom's dinner. She was at a bar. A loud, crowded bar, surrounded by strangers. And she wasn't alone. Right beside her, almost pressed up against her side, was a guy. Taller than her. Shaved head. A sleeve tattoo running from his neck down to his wrist. One hand on the small of her back, the other holding a drink. She leaned into him like it was second nature. Not a new thing. Not awkward. An asterisk mate. Familiar. I stared at the screen, unblinking. My hand gripped the phone like it might explode. My heartbeat was thunder in my ears, but the rest of the world went silent. I tapped the screen, *T the frame. Then again. And again. My breathing slowed. I wasn't panicking. I wasn't even angry. It was something colder. Heavier. Resignation. She had been lying. Not just omitting, not just dodging, it was a full-blown lie. Fabricated plans, fabricated people, fabricated excuses. All while I sat at home, half-eating takeout and telling myself not to overreact. The kicker? The timestamp. The story had been posted 20 minutes ago. She wasn't even back yet. I put my phone down and just sat there. It's a weird thing, realizing the person you've loved most is also the person who's hurt you worst. It hits you sideways, like the floor just shifted under you, but everyone else is walking just fine. I don't know how long I sat like that. Maybe an hour. Maybe more. Eventually, my phone buzzed. Courtney, still at dinner. We're doing dessert. I'll probably be home late. Don't wait up, heart. I stared at it. Read it 3 times. Then I opened my camera roll, selected the *TS and saved them in a private folder titled Truth. I didn't respond. What was there to say? When she came home after midnight, I was still on the couch, pretending to watch TV. She walked in like nothing happened, coat draped over her arm, phone in her hand, lips still stained the same color they'd been in the photo. Hey, she said, leaning down to kiss my cheek. Sorry it went so late. Mom wouldn't stop talking about old recipes. I think she wants to write a cookbook or something. She laughed. I didn't. I looked up at her and forced a smile. That's nice. Glad you had fun. She nodded and walked toward the stairs. You're up late, she called over her shoulder. Yeah, I said. Didn't feel like sleeping. She didn't say anything else. She didn't even look back. I sat there for another hour after she went to bed, listening to her footsteps upstairs. Imagining her brushing her teeth, changing into pajamas, slipping between sheets she'd once said felt safest when I was beside her. And I felt nothing. The next morning, she acted normal. Made coffee. Asked me what I wanted to do that weekend. Mentioned going to a gallery opening her friend from work had invited her to. I nodded, hiding the tension in my jaw. Later, I opened our shared calendar on her laptop while she was in the shower. She'd recently started using it again, saying it helped her stay organized. And right there, under Saturday night, was the event listed as drinks at 9, off-grid. I took a *T of that too. I started collecting everything after that. Not just notes, evidence. Digital copies, *TS, dates, photos. I wasn't looking to start a war. I just needed clarity. Proof that I wasn't losing my mind. Because for months, she'd gaslit me into doubting my own gut. There's something liberating about confirmation, no matter how devastating. Every lie she told after that point became just another entry in the folder. When she said she had a work meeting downtown and I found a transaction for 2 tickets to a jazz club. *T. When she said her phone died and she just went for a walk, but the location history showed her pinging near the same high-rise building twice in 1 week. *T. When I found a second Instagram account she never told me about with only a handful of followers, none of them me and one of them being that same tattooed guy from the video. *T. I didn't confront her. I played it cool. Because now I had a timeline. I had clarity. And I had a plan. I started making changes too. Quiet ones. I opened a new bank account. Transferred half of my savings. Set up mail forwarding for certain documents to my office instead of home. I even reconnected with a friend from college, Brina, who I hadn't spoken to in years, but had always been a rock when I needed perspective. And here's the twist. Turns out Brina knew him, the guy from the bar, the tattooed ghost from the background of that video. She said, "Wait, you're talking about Rick?" That's when everything snapped into place. Rick used to be married to Brina, and they had separated a year ago after she suspected he'd been cheating. She'd never found proof. Until now. Brina was the last person I expected to get involved. We hadn't talked in years. Not since college, when she was dating some guy in our friend circle and we'd all hang out in dorm basements and call it a party. Back then, she was sharp-tongued, always 2 steps ahead of everyone. I remembered her as the kind of woman who didn't tolerate fools. So when I reconnected with her and dropped Rick's name, I didn't expect her to go quiet. Rick? She asked, her voice tightening. Rick Bannon. Yeah, I said. Tall, tatted, drives a gray sedan with black rims. Ring a bell. There was a long pause on the line. Then came a bitter laugh. Of course it's Rick, she said. Of course the guy who tore through my life like a forest fire is now playing house with someone else's wife. My heart stopped. Wait, you were married to him? Was. We separated a year ago, she replied. I never caught him in the act, but I knew. Late nights. Dodged questions. Always talking about some new client he was mentoring. Same pattern over and over. I thought I was just going crazy. I sat back in my chair, stunned. You weren't crazy. Then I told her everything. Not the sugar-coated version, the real version. The shirt, the wine glasses, the fake mom dinners, the bar video, the second Instagram account. Every late night like Courtney spoon-fed me while holding my hand like it still meant something. Brina listened, quiet the whole time. No interruptions, no reactions, just breathing. When I finished, she said, Do you have proof? More than enough, I said. *TS, texts, calendar entries, even location pings. She's been lying for months. Then let's bury them. It was like she'd been waiting for this. Like all the rage she'd packed away during her divorce had finally found a crack to escape through. Only now, she wasn't just angry. She was calculated. We met in person the next day. I hadn't seen her in over 5 years, but the moment she stepped out of her car, I knew nothing about her had softened. Her heels clicked like punctuation marks. She wore all black, businesslike, surgical. She shook my hand like this was a job interview. We're not gonna scream, she said before I could speak. We're not gonna slash tires or throw drinks in faces. If we're doing this, it's gonna be clean, controlled, devastating. I nodded. What do you have in mind? She opened a small notebook and flipped through several pages. Handwritten names, places, notes. This wasn't a reaction. It was a dossier. Turns out, Brina had spent months documenting Rick's habits before they split. Names of people he mentioned, patterns in his schedule, even suspected aliases he used on dating apps. She'd shelved all of it after her lawyer told her it was pointless without hard proof. You just gave me the hard proof, she said. I handed her my folder. Flash drive, paper copies, everything I had on Courtney. She flipped through it with professional calm, stopping only once to mutter, Your wife is real cozy with betrayal. She thinks she's untouchable, I said. I want her to feel the consequences. Brina nodded once. Then let's make sure she does. The plan unfolded over the next 3 weeks. We wanted more than a confrontation. We wanted exposure. We wanted fallout. Brina organized the entire thing under the guise of a private party, her birthday celebration, as she called it. She rented a luxury villa just outside the city, the kind with Instagrammable decor and a hot tub in the back. She sent out digital invites through her old friend group, careful to make sure Rick's social circle got wind of it. She even posted teasers on her socials to make it look real. Big night ahead. Private guest list only, celebrating the next chapter. Then she called Courtney and personally invited her. Hey girl, she said on speaker as I listened. I know it's been forever, but I'm throwing this chill birthday get-together next Friday. No pressure, but I'd love to catch up. Bring whoever. Just don't ghost me like last time. Okay? Courtney's voice on the other end was bright. Too bright. Oh my God, Brina. I thought you were in LA. I'm back. Brina lied effortlessly. At least for now. And what better way to reconnect than with wine and bad music? Totally, Courtney said. Send me the details. Hook, line, sinker. Rick was easier. Brina had already stalked his socials. He'd been liking pictures of hers for months, the kind of pathetic breadcrumb trail guys like him always leave. She DM'd him a casual, long time no see, winky face, and he responded in under 5 minutes. The party was set. We rented discreet cameras. One in the hallway, one in the living room, one in the back patio area. Brina even planted a Bluetooth mic under the coffee table for audio. The locks on the guest bedroom were customized, remote-controlled from a phone app. The alcohol? Real enough to loosen tongues, not enough to cloud judgment. When Friday night came, everything was in place. I didn't go, obviously. That was the whole point. I had to have distance. Clean alibi. I spent the evening at a bar downtown with friends, taking selfies, time-stamped photos, even ordering food with receipts, just in case. Brina played host. She greeted every guest, passed out drinks, made jokes. When Rick arrived, she hugged him like nothing had ever happened. When Courtney walked in, dressed to K*LL and unaware of what she was stepping into, Brina smiled and said, "You haven't changed a bit." She ushered them both into the main room. Music played. Lights dimmed. The crowd thinned out, people splintering into groups. Brina kept tabs from a distance while pretending to drink. She watched as Courtney and Rick drifted toward each other like magnets, whispering, laughing, brushing against each other like they hadn't already burned through someone else's vows. Then, as planned, Brina offered them the guest room to talk. They went willingly. The door clicked shut behind them. What happened inside wasn't scripted. But it didn't have to be. The audio captured everything. The camera saw enough. Not explicit, not graphic, but enough. Enough to prove intent. Enough to show that it wasn't just a mistake. It was a pattern. The next morning, Brina sent me the files. Courtney and Rick left the villa just before dawn. Disoriented, disheveled. Brina said Courtney tripped in the hallway, twisting her ankle. Nothing major, but enough to make her limp. Rick's car was keyed on one side when they got to it. Not by us. Probably someone else at the party who'd seen too much and said too little. We didn't touch them. We didn't have to. They did it to themselves. That weekend, Brina uploaded an anonymous package to several accounts. A zip file labeled truth_unfiltered. The contents? **TS, video snippets, receipts. A compiled folder of lies. Then she disappeared. Deleted all her social accounts. Dropped her number. Went completely dark. As for me, I waited. Because Courtney's world was about to collapse. And I wanted her to feel every inch of it before I made my next move. The first sign that Courtney's perfect little world was beginning to implode came in the form of silence. An eerie, digital kind of silence. Her Instagram, usually a constant stream of curated **TS and carefully angled selfies, went quiet. No brunch photos. No reposted quotes about healing or choosing joy. Just nothing. That alone wouldn't have meant much. Maybe she was taking a break. But I knew better, because I was watching it happen in real time. See, the night after Brina released the files, I got a text from an unknown number. Just a link. No message, no name. I almost ignored it, but curiosity got the better of me. It led to a private online forum. One of those gossipy spaces where people post receipts and rumors and ask, "Does anyone know who this is?" And there she was. Courtney. My wife. Well, my soon-to-be ex. **TS of the video from the villa. Snippets from her secret Instagram. Comments dissecting her outfits, her lies, her captions that now seemed ironic in the worst possible way. But it wasn't just the video. Someone had posted stills of her with Rick, the ones Brina had captured from earlier encounters. The receipts, the time-stamped location pings. It was a full dossier. Her digital mug **T. And then came the comments. She was doing this while married? Woo. This guy she's with, didn't he get kicked out of that marketing firm last year? Sketchy AF. I know her. She used to model for that lifestyle brand. Guess that's over now. #liarbrand is trending LOL. That hashtag spread like fire. Started as a joke. One user tagging it on every photo of her wearing designer clothes she'd been paid to promote. Then it became a meme. Her face, her influencer poses, all captioned with sarcastic quotes like, "Trust takes years to build, seconds to destroy, and apparently one birthday party to implode." I saved none of it, but I watched. For a while. And then I logged out. Because I didn't need to keep tabs anymore. The avalanche had started. Gravity was doing the rest. I came back home 5 days later. I'd stayed with my cousin, sleeping on his lumpy guest futon, waking up at odd hours, eating like a college kid again just to feel human. But now that the storm had hit, I had business to finish. When I opened the door, the house was still and dark, like something had curled up in it and died. Courtney was on the living room floor, knees drawn to her chest, wearing one of my old sweatshirts, inside out, hood up, sleeves too long. Her face looked hollow. Hair a mess. Skin pale. For a moment, I didn't say anything. I just stood there, watching her struggle to look like the confident, composed woman I used to know. She looked up at me like a child caught breaking something priceless. "You came back," she whispered. "Briefly." She nodded, her eyes wide and glassy. "Mark," her voice cracked. "I haven't slept. I can't. It's like someone's always outside watching. My phone won't stop buzzing. Brands are pulling out. People I don't even know are demanding me with threats. I've lost over 12,000 followers in 4 days." "Good," I said, without even blinking. "Maybe now you understand what it's like to have the ground fall out from under you." Her lower lip trembled. "You sent that stuff out, didn't you?" I stepped forward, setting a folder on the coffee table between us. Inside are copies of everything: messages, call logs, photos, GPS data. All of it. I've already submitted it to my lawyer. Divorce papers are being finalized. You'll be hearing from him by the end of the week. She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Mark, please, we can talk. I'll go to therapy. I'll do anything." I sat on the edge of the couch but didn't look at her. "It's too late for therapy. You didn't just make a mistake. You built a second life and shoved me into the dark." Her breath hitched. "I didn't mean to. I swear. It just started with flirting, and then I didn't know how to stop." "You could have stopped the first time you lied to my face," I said. "You could have stopped when you deleted messages or when you told me you were at your mom's while you were actually sitting in a bar with your hand on someone else's thigh." She buried her face in her arms. "I've ruined everything." "Yeah," I said, standing. "You have." Before I left, I paused in the hallway. "By the way, I sent the full dossier to the companies you represent. Every brand. Every PR manager." She didn't look up. "You're not just losing your marriage," I said. "You're losing your credibility. Because people like you live and die by the illusion. And now? That illusion is shattered." I walked out, not looking back. The next few days were quiet on my end. No calls. No texts. Just updates from my lawyer confirming she had received the documents. Apparently, she didn't contest anything, not even the asset split. Probably too afraid of what else might surface if she fought. Then came the final email from one of her former sponsors, an apology to me. An actual letter explaining they had no knowledge of her personal conduct and expressing regret for any unintended involvement. I almost laughed. Courtney was now officially untouchable in all the wrong ways. She tried calling once. Left a voicemail at 2:14 a.m. I didn't listen to it. Just saw the transcript on my screen. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I don't expect you to forgive me. I miss the sound of you breathing next to me. I miss who I was when I was with you." Delete. Because the thing is, I don't think she missed me. I think she missed the version of herself that looked good standing next to me. The dependable guy. The loyal husband. The safe bet. But that guy? He's gone now. And I'm glad. I started sleeping better. Eating like a human again. I went for walks around the neighborhood, not caring if people stared or whispered. Some knew. Most didn't. But it didn't matter anymore. Freedom has a weight to it, light and heavy at the same time. I cleaned out the house. Packed up her things into boxes labeled return and had them shipped to her last known address, wherever she was crashing now. I kept nothing. Not the notes she used to leave in my lunch bag. Not the anniversary photos. Not even the framed picture of us at the Grand Canyon where she'd smiled at me like I was the only man on earth. Turns out it was just the camera angle. People always ask what healing feels like after betrayal. I'll tell you. It's the first morning you don't check your phone for texts you know aren't coming. It's cooking dinner for one and feeling full anyway. It's walking into your own house and not holding your breath. It's not the dramatic speech, not the slamming doors, not the revenge. It's the silence. The kind that finally feels like peace. I thought it was over. The lies exposed, the marriage dissolved, the chaos behind me. But a week after Courtney's downfall, I got a call from her. Her voice shook. "Mark, someone's stalking me." I almost hung up. But something in her tone made me pause. They scratched "liar" into my car. "I'm getting emails. Threats. I don't think this is just trolling anymore." I assumed she was being dramatic. Then Brina called. Someone had left a dead bird on her doorstep. That's when we started digging. And we found him. Jason Mulroy. Ex-con. Former associate of Rick's from years ago. According to court records Brina dug up, Rick had scammed him out of a deal before disappearing. Jason had done 5 years. He was out now and hunting everyone Rick had been close to, which included Courtney. And by extension me. I knew I couldn't run from this. So I reached out to someone who knew Jason, an old friend from college with, let's say, flexible connections. We met in an abandoned warehouse, cliché as hell, but Jason wasn't one for formalities. I didn't threaten him. I made him an offer. A flash drive. On it, Rick's burner accounts, bank logs, locations, the names of people Rick had conned worse than Jason. Real enemies, not bystanders like me or Brina. He took it. Didn't say a word. Just nodded. Brina vanished soon after. Changed her number. Moved out of state. Courtney? Never called again. I deleted the folder. Burned the notebooks. And finally breathed in silence so thick and clean it felt like a second chance. Betrayal cut deep. But peace? Peace was louder than revenge. And quieter than guilt.